We live in an era where everyone is on live constantly, from people doing TikTok lives in the middle of the street doing emotes for gifts, people doing TikTok battles and making it a sustainable income. There's people even on Twitch that will do 24-hour, 72-hour streams. I feel like we just live in an era right now where everyone is on live, but although those people get a lot of viewers, how about the lives that don't really get as much viewers? I'm talking about the lives that only get about 13 viewers and the video is really dark, it's hard to hear. And this is actually very similar to a Facebook Live that was made back in November of 2019 by 19-year-old Anthony Gelia. And although at the time of this live, he only had around 37 viewers, but once this live had re-uploaded and resurfaced, it would later be seen by millions. And that's because in this live is when Anthony would film himself breaking and entering into his ex-girlfriend's home and shooting and killing someone inside of the home. But before I show you the full Facebook Live clip, I'm going to tell you the full story first. So Anthony Gelia is a 19-year-old boy from Jackson, Michigan that lived with his parents and his younger brother, Noah. Now, ever since Anthony was a kid, he was a big trouble child, and in his teenage years, he actually ended up going to juvie 9 times. And even when he was 16, he would actually go to jail for assault. Later into his teenage years, that's when his parents would also get into a divorce, with his dad moving out of the house, and then him and his younger brother Noah lived full-time with their mom. But as far as Anthony and his mother's relationship, it was not the best. Anthony never went to school, he was always getting arrested, and during this time, he was also experimenting with hard drugs such as meth, and so he became very, very addicted to meth, and then shortly after that, he ended up having a minor heart attack due to the meth. So then after that, he never touched it again, but moved his addiction over to PCP, which if you guys don't know what PCP is, it's basically like a hallucinogen drug, but he was taking large amounts of it every single day. So when you take lots of hallucinogens every single day, that slowly brings you into an altered reality. And so because of this, he developed a lot of mental disorders. Later down the road, though, is when Anthony would get a girlfriend named Amber. Now, Amber absolutely loved Anthony's younger brother, Noah, and she also absolutely loved Anthony's mom. But she kind of had a very close relationship with Noah, who was only 2 years younger than Anthony, and they would often hang out together, play together, and Noah absolutely loved Amber as well and saw her like a bigger sister. But Anthony would actually grow very jealous of this relationship and felt like Noah was taking his girlfriend away from her. But eventually, Amber and Anthony had broken up because apparently Amber was actually married. And so when Anthony found this out, that's when they split up. But even though they had split up, Amber was still consistently talking to Noah and Anthony's mom. So at this point, Anthony was 19 and he couldn't really hold down a job, but he was able to get a job as a tree climber for a landscaping company. And so once he got that job, he was able to make a little bit more money, but unfortunately just spent all of his money on drugs and alcohol. And so he only paid his mom $100 a month for rent. And due to this, they would get into a lot of arguments on top of a lot of other things that Anthony would do inside of her home. And so one night, Anthony and his mom ended up getting into a really, really bad argument that ended up with Anthony's mom kicking Anthony out of the house. So when Anthony was kicked out of the house, he decided to go live with his girlfriend, who was ironically also named Amber. So his ex was named Amber, but she was married, and now he has a new girlfriend also named Amber. So he and his girlfriend Amber decided to move into a friend of theirs who was named Ashley and her sister Lindsay. Now, Ashley, and it gets kind of confusing, hang in with me there. And so Ashley is basically Noah's ex-girlfriend, Anthony's little brother. So as of right now, Anthony is living with his girlfriend, his little brother's ex-girlfriend, who he dated for a year, and his little brother's ex-girlfriend's sister. And that's the living situation right now.
My brother basically broke up with my ex. Your brother broke up?
My brother broke up with Ashley Boardman.
Mm-hmm.
And then,
Your brother's actually Ashley Boardman?
Yeah. Okay. Well, I thought it was fucked up because he just left her in the dirt.
Mm-hmm.
And then, basically what happened was me and my girlfriend Amber stayed with her and her sister Lindsay Boardman.
Mm-hmm.
And, she lives in the Ridgewood Vista.
So, as I said, although Anthony and Amber, his ex Amber, were split, she would still talk to Noah and Anthony's mom. And her and Noah still developed their really close relationship. And because of this, Amber actually moved into the family home temporarily before she would later take Noah in to move in with her and her husband. So, again, it kind of gets confusing. At this point, Anthony's ex-girlfriend, Amber, his little brother, Anthony's little brother Noah, is currently living with her and her husband. But once Anthony found out that Noah had moved in with his ex, he completely blew up and he started posting a lot of threatening messages to Noah's Facebook wall, with Noah sending threatening messages back. And they were basically just beefing back and forth, saying how Noah technically stole Anthony's girlfriend, but then Anthony technically stole Noah's girlfriend because he was currently living with Noah's ex-girlfriend. But then, of course, Anthony could say back, well, you're living with my ex-girlfriend, so what does it matter?
Noah, basically left her.
Okay.
But that was no reason why I stayed with her. The reason why I stayed with her is because my brother left her and left her out to hang, basically. I mean, they were with each other for a year, and me and her have always been friends. Mm-hmm. We weren't messing around or nothing because I had my girlfriend with me, Amber. So we were just friends.
So at the top of the interrogation interview, when Anthony is brought in, he starts off by saying in the interview that he hardly ever drinks, which is kind of a weird thing to start off your interrogation with. But he just straight up, flat out says that he doesn't drink and that night he was drinking a lot. And then he also says that he doesn't really drink very often because he doesn't have time to drink because he's always working. And when the detective asks him a simple question of like, oh, well, how many hours do you work? He completely stutters and doesn't really know what to say.
Actually, I was drinking. I hardly ever drink because I'm usually working my ass off.
How many hours you work in a week?
It's hard to say. Sometimes we work 80 hours, Monday through Sunday. Mm-hmm. And then sometimes we'll have slow weeks where my boss has got stuff to do and,
Which is kind of weird because, again, like, I feel like you should know how many hours a week you work, or like a rough estimate, especially when it says it literally on your check, how many hours you've worked, and also the amount of hours you work determines how much you get paid. But anyways, after this, Anthony starts going into the day of the crime. So he says that night he had gotten off of work and he was feeling really upset and down on himself about how his mom had kicked him out the house. So he went back to the house where currently Ashley, Amber, and Lindsay were, and he was telling them how he wanted to drink that night. And so all four of them planned on going out and drinking. But from Anthony's story, he says that when he got off work, he actually did go back to the home, but he only picked up Amber. And so he picked up Amber and the two of them went to Anthony's dad's house. And he said that when he was at his dad's house, he was basically just talking to him about how his mom just kicked him out the house. And then Anthony says that the two of them started to talk about how Noah treated his girlfriend Ashley terribly, which I don't really understand why they would do that, considering Anthony doesn't have the best track record either with that.
We showed up at my dad's house.
Alright.
And I talked to my dad for a little bit, and we hung out in the garage, and we were talking to him, and how Noah was treating Ashley, and all this, and this was before I was drinking or anything.
Okay.
And we were in there, we were talking.
After this is when Ashley and Anthony would later go to the store, where there he would buy a Slim Jim, a 2-liter of Pepsi, and 4 cheese burritos from like the fridge in the store. And so he took all of that back home. And so him and Amber met up Lindsay and Ashley back at the home, and then all 4 of them were drinking. He said that they were drinking Smirnoffs and UV Blue. And Anthony also went on to say that at one point he had dumped out a little bit of his 2-liter Pepsi and poured the whole bottle of UV Blue into the Pepsi bottle and just shook it around and started drinking that all night. After drinking all of that, they decided that they wanted to go back out to the store, but obviously Anthony at this point was too drunk to drive, so that's when he told Ashley to drive his car, and specifically drive him, Amber, and Ashley to the store, again with Ashley driving. They ended up going to a local store, and when they got there, that's when Ashley would run inside and get all 3 of them Smirnoffs while Amber and Anthony sat in the car. Now at this point, Anthony's story changes literally in his interview. At first he says that all 3 of them are sitting in the car, and then all of a sudden Amber is like, oh my god, I think Noah lives around here, and she jumps out the car. But then his story changed and he said, no, wait, actually Ashley drove us there, but I don't know how she knew where the house was at.
When in there, I was sitting in the car with Amber drinking.
Okay.
And she got out and took off and went to this house. And she said, I think Noah's staying here.
Okay. Who got out?
Huh?
You said you're drinking, she's in there, then what happens?
We pull up this house, and I'm so intoxicated. I was drinking,
Okay.
and basically what happened was I got out of the car, kicked the door open,
Mm-hmm.
Cause it's gross.
Where was Ashley and Amber then? Still in the car
No, I actually got out.
with you?
Yeah.
But before moving into the rest of today's case, I quickly want to say that this episode is brought to you by IQ Bar, our exclusive snack sponsor. Now, if you guys don't know what IQ Bar is, IQ Bar aims to empower doers through superior brain and body nutrition. IQ Bar has a delicious assortment of different bars that will help you get through your day. They are completely free from gluten, dairy, soy, GMOs, and artificial sweeteners, and come in 9 satisfying flavors. My personal favorite is banana nut. Not only does it satisfy my hunger, there's no sugar crash, and they're super easy to just throw in my bag. IQ Joe is a jitter-free instant coffee packed with 200 milligrams of natural caffeine and brain and productivity and boosting ingredients like magnesium and lion's mane. Say you're not really that much of a coffee person, IQ Bar also offers IQ Mix, which is a zero sugar drink mix that hydrates with electrolytes. It also improves mood with magnesium and boosts clarity. I'm telling you guys, when you put this stuff in your water, it tastes like tropical. Like, it doesn't even taste like you're drinking water. My personal favorite was peach mango and blueberry pomegranate. IQ Bar makes the #1 brain and body nutrition bar, hydration mix, and instant coffee in the US. And right now, IQ Bar is offering our special podcast listeners 20% off all IQ Bar products plus free shipping. To get your 20% off, just text BEHIND, that is BEHIND, to 64,000. Again, text BEHIND to 64,000, that is BEHIND to 64,000. Message and data rates may apply. See term for details. And thank you once again to IQ Bar for sponsoring today's episode. Now back to your episode. Now, as I said, at this time, Noah was still living with Anthony's ex, Amber, and her husband, and apparently their house was nearby the store where they were at. And from Anthony's perspective, he said that Ashley was still absolutely obsessed with Noah because Ashley and Noah used to date, and she was still very obsessed with him. And allegedly, Anthony would also say that one day when he was just at the house taking a shower, that's when Ashley would walk in and say that she just got a text text from Noah saying that everyone in the house will die soon and like within the next couple days or something. Honestly, I don't even know if this text was real or not. This is just what he said. But he said that Ashley received that text, and so he took that as a threat. So he wanted to protect himself, and so he decided to go over to Noah's house and protect himself. Anthony says that all he remembers is pulling up to the house and Ashley was in the driver's seat and she said, quote, "Let's go in there and see what's going on." Now, when they got to the home, that's when Anthony would say that him and Ashley would hop out of the car and start peeking through the windows to see if anybody was home. And when Anthony looked inside, that's when he saw his ex, Noah, and her husband sitting on the couch. And so since he could confirm that Amber and Noah were there, he decided to enter the home. And as I said, he's on Facebook Live throughout all of this. And so in the Facebook Live, you could hear Amber and Ashley freaking out in the background as if they were not okay with anything he was doing. He had at first knocked on the door, to which Amber's husband actually went up to the window to see who was out there, but then he saw a car that he didn't recognize. And then after that is when Anthony decided to kick the door down, which it actually took him 3 separate tries to officially break the door down. And once he did, that's when Amber and Noah ran upstairs, and they actually also had some friends over at this point. They had a 26-year-old woman named Brittany, her child, and her boyfriend, and they were all in the living room at this point. So that's when Brittany, her boyfriend, and her child ran downstairs to the basement bedroom, with Amber's husband following them down the stairs. Now, Amber's husband was actually interrogated shortly after this, and he said that at first he thought that Anthony was an intruder and was going to fight him off until he noticed that it was Anthony. And that's when Amber's husband also realized that Anthony actually had a gun stuffed in his John Deere hoodie pocket. And so once he saw that Anthony had a gun, that's when Amber's husband ran downstairs and followed Brittany, her husband, and her child down to the downstairs bedroom. And at this point, Anthony starts to get really emotional, and he starts talking about how he feels like he's just a waste of a person and that he doesn't know what he did because he was so drunk the entire time. And then when the detective asks him about the gun, that's when his demeanor completely changes and he now switches to like being really nervous and paranoid, and he starts saying like, well, I don't want to be a snitch. Why do you want to know where I got the gun? Because actually the gun that he had, when they found the gun, it had a scratched serial number on it. So it was definitely a gun he got from the streets.
I had a 40. Mm-hmm. I had a 40 cal. Mm-hmm. And then I traded it for a 380. Mm-hmm. Shit, dude, I'm being a snitch right now.
You ain't telling who did it. You just traded it. I don't care. I mean, so
you
anyway,
don't care the names anyway.
No, I don't care.
Okay. Names. So I traded the 40 cal for the for a 380 and a 9 mil.
Okay.
Well, I sold the 380, kept the 9 mil because I don't need 2 guns. I just wanted 1, just for personal protection.
Gotcha.
Well, what happened was once I had the 9 mil, I've had it for a while. I've actually had that 9 mil for a little bit. Well, I kept it in my safe, and I started taking it with me when I moved into the Ridgewood Vista because these African American people started giving me problems. Well, I wanted to keep it for protection. I didn't flash.
You're working and you have money. So.
Yeah. I just didn't want to get robbed or nothing. I have like $1.5 grand worth of system in my car.
Yeah, shit.
And I don't want to be robbed.
Yeah. So you go in there, you take a shot. You're not sure if you hit anybody. How many times did you shoot inside there? So I'm gonna find the casings. That's why I asked.
Oh yeah, I know you guys are to figure it all out either way. So
that's why I'm gonna ask.
Yeah. Probably.
Just get it off your chest. You're gonna feel a lot better.
Well, I mean, I'm gonna try to be sincere, but I really don't know. I was intoxicated, bad. Okay. Can you guys like find live videos that I deleted? It was all on camera.
Is that on Facebook?
Oh, it's all on camera.
Okay. You have a phone?
Yeah, you guys probably have it. Yeah, she tried to grab the gun from me.
And then you saw the big guy with tattoos all over him?
Yeah, and then I aimed it at him.
Okay.
And then
he shut the door?
He shut the door.
Did you shoot back into the door?
Yeah, but when I shot, I aimed away from where he was when he shut the door. I aimed towards the left.
Okay.
Like, towards the seam.
Okay.
So Anthony says that once he saw Amber's husband run downstairs, that's when Anthony chased after him, and he got halfway down the stairs. And from the middle of the stairs is when Anthony tried to take a shot at Amber's husband but missed. And so he ran into the bedroom and shut the door. And now in the bedroom was Amber's husband, as well as Brittany, her child, and her boyfriend. And so when he shut the door, Anthony didn't attempt going into the bedroom. He just shot twice at the door, and then he went upstairs to the living room. He started to shoot at the floor in the living room, and then shot once in the kitchen cabinets, and then just left. And then from his account, he says that the next thing he remembers, he's just in the car driving with Ashley and Amber, and then he sees the police pull up behind him, to which he's still on Facebook Live, even making threats to kill the police. And then after that, he's taken to jail. But Anthony, from his own account, and like he still doesn't even really remember, but he says that he thinks he was on Facebook Live, to which he actually was on Facebook Live the entire time.
I smell bacon. Oh my God. There's bacon. They got somebody. You know what's funny? I could go over there right now and pop a pig in the fucking head. I could go pop a pig in the head. Fuck it. I don't even like my life.
Thanks, stop.
I don't even fucking like my life. No fucks, no laws, no nothing for me. I don't give a fuck. I got one in the chamber right now.
Baby, stop.
I have no problem.
Baby, stop.
Okay, Ashley scared off.
You can... Hell, share it with me. You just made me... She's gonna... She's driving. Say something to me. I think that little is left.
That don't fuck around. I almost want to shoot this gun off right now. Almost.
Stop.
But almost isn't enough, right? Oh, there's a cop behind us. I'm so scared. What's up? What's up, live? Can someone talk to me? Alright, who wants some beef? Alright, if there's just one of you, then I'll fight you. But if there's more than one, I'll fucking shoot. What's up? I'm fucking crazy. Guaranteed crazy.
I know where they are.
Who?
I know where they are. I know where they live.
Who, Noah? Let's go. We're gonna go find Noah. There's my whip. There's my pistol. There's my pistol.
Anthony, I want to go fishing with him.
I'm about ready to go.
Get in the car. Now.
Oh, I just tried to pop a shot with the safety on. Woo! There was cops right there!
Go to the house and didn't know there.
Alright, let's see who's here. I'm gonna go find my little baby bro and see who the fuck was threatening me. You wanna see? Let's see who the fuck was threatening me. Watch this shit.
Go up there and ask him all start He's not no.
Let's see this shit right here. Watch this. I got the gear.
Anthony, stop! Anthony, stop it now! Stop! Stop!
Hey!
Get down! Oh my God! Hey, yo!
Look!
Anthony! Oh my God, my nephew's in here! Anthony!
What's up? Who's the real motherfucker in this bitch? Who's the real motherfucker in this bitch? Huh?
Please, we gotta go. We're home.
Who's the real motherfucker? Who's crazy? Who's crazy? Who's crazy? Who's crazy?
Stop it.
Who's crazy?
Give me that. Anthony!
Let's go. Get out of here.
Did you shoot someone? I don't fucking know. You're dumb. You're being dumb.
What's up? What's up? See me in the area Brotherhood in prison.
Oh my God.
See me there.
You're not only safe, you have to.
There was even one point in the live where Anthony had a chainsaw in the back seat of his car and started to rev the chainsaw, threatening to kill someone that tried to cross him. But at the time of Anthony being on this live, what he didn't know was that when he went downstairs and shot twice into the bedroom, unfortunately, one of those shots was the shot that murdered Brittany Southwell, 26-year-old mother and wife. Brittany's boyfriend goes on to say that in that moment, he just heard the 2 loud gunshots go off, and then when he looked over to make sure that his wife and his child was okay, he just saw Brittany lying down on the floor with a blank stare at the ceiling, and there was blood all over her chest. After this, Amber's husband immediately called the police and called an ambulance, but unfortunately, when she went to the hospital, she had passed away due to the gunshot wound. And Amber's husband, in his interrogation, would actually go on to say that when Anthony walked into the home, he never once looked at him or pointed the gun at him or said anything to him. Immediately when Anthony walked into the living room, he started to shoot at the floor. And from one of the interrogations, that person actually said that Anthony did have a clear opportunity to shoot someone in the living room, but didn't. He instead just started to shoot at the floor. Anthony said that prior to going into the home, he actually loaded 13 rounds into the chamber of his gun. And there was actually 9 shell casings found at the scene of the crime. There was 4 in the living room, 4 downstairs in the basement, and 1 in the kitchen. And when Anthony is talking about the crime, he doesn't really put any blame onto himself. He mostly just blames Ashley the entire time. He goes on to say that Ashley is a manipulative liar and that he does not like her and that she's always trying to spread lies to help herself. He even goes on to say that currently she's on like felony parole because she was shooting a gun when she was drunk. And even when Anthony is brought up by like the detective tells Anthony, "Oh, well, did you know you actually shot someone?" He completely ignores it and doesn't even care, and instead turns it back onto Ashley and says, "Oh, well, who told you that I did that? It was probably Ashley, because Ashley is terrible."
She's obsessed with Noah. She wants you to go over there for what reason?
I don't know. We went and got alcohol, and then she just showed up there.
So who's Brittany?
Brittany?
Yes.
Brittany? I don't know any...
Southwell?
Southwell?
That lives in there?
I have no clue who that is, honestly.
Okay. And so, you go in there, you shoot, because that's the girl that got hit.
She got shot?
In the shoulder.
I don't know her.
You don't know her?
No.
So, you didn't hear her say, "ow," "ooh," anything like that?
No.
Anybody say anything after you shot?
No.
Okay, then you turn around and you go out the house.
Honestly, dude, I don't know.
There's somebody in the house, somebody that was already in the house, gave us your name, car description, who you're with, and that's how they stopped you out on, was it?
And then there's even another point in the interrogation where Anthony's looking down at his pants and he realizes that he has a little bit of blood on his pants. And again, instead of like acknowledging if he had hurt anyone or even acknowledging Brittany that he at this point knows that he had shot, he doesn't acknowledge it at all and instead just dismisses it and continues his conversation.
You know? So,
Where'd that come from?
what is it? Blood? I don't know if that's blood. Is that blood?
It could have been for me working, maybe right there, but you know, I hope it's not somebody I hurt.
Yeah. I don't know, did you get that close to somebody?
My ex. She tried to grab the gun from me.
Okay, and that was Amber Uphold?
Yeah.
Or maybe Amber Uphold? Okay.
I mean, I don't remember that much because I was intoxicated, but I do remember walking down the stairs, the big dude shutting the door. He tried to come at me first, and that's why I popped the shot. He tried to come at me first, and then once he tried to come at me, he seen that I had the gun, went back in the basement door, shut it. When he shut it, I popped the shot, like, see that door right there? I tried to pop a shot, like, right, like, in the seam, almost like.
Like the door frame?
like the seam, just like where you couldn't hit nobody.
Okay.
Right in the seam.
Gotcha.
There was even a third time where now it was two detectives in the room, and both of them basically told Anthony that he had shot and killed someone, and again, just doesn't seem to care.
Did you tell one of those girls that you shot somebody in the head?
Did I? No.
That's what they're telling Detective Styles. They said on the way over from the house.
I already know how you guys play your games.
No,
One said that.
Which one
It
said
was
that?
probably Ashley Boardman.
Ashley
Because she's a lying motherfucker.
Okay.
And she's a manipulative liar, and that's why she's on felony probation, because she tried shooting. I mean, she tried shooting when she was drunk, and my friend went up, we were building a fort, and we didn't know where he went, and she shot in a random direction. That's why she's on.
You guys are building a fort and she shot in a random direction?
Yeah, my buddy was gone, and we didn't know where he was. He was getting some brush because we were building a lean-to because it was windy. It was under a bridge, and we had a fire. We were trying to keep the fire going, so we built a lean-to. Well, he was going to get some brush, and she shot towards a random direction. I had no clue where my friend was. He was gathering brush. Well, that's why she's on what she's on right now, is because she was shooting random shots.
He again just completely ignores what the detective said and just continues to hate on Ashley. And remember earlier when I showed you guys that clip where he said that he saw this man and he was covered in tattoos? Well, now he's completely changing his story, and he said that there was no man in tattoos.
Yeah. I said, oh shit, when you knocked on the door.
I don't know what the fuck she said.
The large gentleman with the tattoos.
I didn't see no tattoos either. I just saw the large gentleman. The only reason why I say tattoos is because I seen him on a video that bitch said sucking dick week or something on there. And that's the only reason why I said he had tattoos is because I seen it on Facebook. Or Ashley showed me a video of her saying something on Facebook, sucking the Anastasia bitch. So I figured it was to do with the tattoos. And he was a bigger guy, so you know what? That's the only reason why I said
You know
that.
who this bigger guy is?
I have no clue who any of them are. I don't know who any of them are. None of them. Except for my little bro, Noah. And I didn't even see him.
Alright. You didn't see him in the house at all, right?
I didn't see him at all. Honestly, when I went in there, I didn't even know whose fucking house I was going.
Which kind of makes sense that he wouldn't have seen a man with tattoos, because from Amber's husband's report, he said that Anthony never even looked at him, pointed the gun at him, or anything. And so that kind of makes sense, but again, it's just weird how he keeps changing his story. At Anthony's trial, he was actually trying to plead not guilty for reasons of insanity, because he said that that night he had been smoking weed, he had been drinking, and he believes that one of his drinks was laced with Xanax. He blamed Ashley again. He said that Ashley had laced his drink with Xanax while Amber watched, his current girlfriend Amber watched, and Amber knew about it but didn't say anything about it to him. But when Anthony was drug tested and given a breathalyzer that night, he was only found with alcohol and nothing else. So he was claiming that that night the alcohol mixed in with the Xanax made him temporarily insane, and that explains why he can't really remember what he did that night or what he was doing. Anthony would go on to say that at the time of the crime, since he was on alcohol and he was on Xanax and he also has mental disorders, all of that combined is what made him do what he did that night. But the judge argued this by saying that he voluntarily drank that night and he voluntarily smoked that night. And so if he volunteered to be intoxicated, he needs to accept the consequences of what come when he's intoxicated. Having mental disorders is obviously not a choice, but using substances to worsen that mental disorder is a choice, such as drinking or smoking or doing any sort of hard drugs. And the defense also tried to argue that although he said in his Facebook Live that he so clearly was ready to kill someone, they tried to claim that actually Anthony, his intention was to kill no one. He didn't mean to kill anyone. He was just trying to scare them. Now, they back this up by saying, from what I was saying earlier, when he entered into the home, he wasn't pointing the gun at anyone. He just started shooting at the floor. So even though he had an opportunity to kill someone, he didn't. And then when he went downstairs and the door was shut on him, again, he had an opportunity to open up the door and shoot whoever was inside, but didn't take that opportunity. He just shot the door twice, then went upstairs to start shooting randomly again. And it was actually at his trial on the stand where Anthony literally changes his story, because at first he was claiming that he took Xanax voluntarily, but then when the judge started saying like, no, you took these drugs and you drank that alcohol voluntarily, so that you did not go temporarily insane, those were choices that you were making. He then switches his story and said that he was not taking Xanax from his own free will. He was actually laced from it. So again, even on the stand, he was changing his story. And even when he was clocked changing his story, the judge had said to Anthony, quote, who was under the influence of voluntarily consumed or injected alcohol or controlled substances at the time of his or her alleged offense is not considered to have been legally insane solely because of the being under the influence of the alcohol or controlled substances. And even on the next day, so the interrogation that I just showed you, he was clearly a little bit drunk, so they gave him another interrogation the next day where he did confess that he did take Xanax that night, but never mentioned in his interrogation that it was laced, which if you suspected you were laced, that is a very big detail that you would say, especially if he was going after Ashley, who he clearly doesn't like. But in the end, Anthony was indeed charged with first-degree murder, first-degree home invasion, and firearm possession, and was sentenced to life in prison without possibility of parole. Now, Anthony actually was granted a retrial in 2023, but his request to be released was denied, and he is still currently living out his life sentence with no possibility of parole. And yeah, that is the end of today's episode. I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to give it a thumbs up if you are watching on YouTube, and make sure to rate it 5 stars if you are listening on Spotify or Apple. I really would love to hear your guys' comments and opinions about the case down below. Do you think that Anthony deserved a life sentence, or do you believe that he deserved to have time in a mental institution? Because that was a really big factor of this case, especially since he was pleading the insanity plea. A lot of people were saying that a lot of what he did was drug induced, and because of him being addicted to PCP, he had developed a lot of mental disorders. So people were saying that maybe if he was mentally stable, then he would be able to live amongst society. But that also gets a little scary, because if he is out in the world, who's to say that if he has access to alcohol that he won't drink it, or if he has access to drugs that he won't do them? And so a lot of people for that reason were okay with the life sentence, but I would love to hear what you guys think about that in the comments below. And yeah, that is all from me. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day today. Make sure to get outside today. And as always, I love you, I love you, I love you, and I will see you guys next week.